What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 29 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys. I'm joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty, Greg Miller, and Portillo the Wiener Dog.
Thank you for not leaving him out.
Yeah, I know. He's doing some things today that I really
doesn't have enough
like.
star power.
He doesn't.
I'm sorry.
So
He doesn't have enough star power.
we tried it the one time where we had him laying in state out here, and I couldn't handle it. Right?
Yeah.
I've been seeing this new dog bed that's shaped like a hot dog bun. That might be a good fit for him, just to sit there.
I mean, I like that. I'm
Yeah.
definitely into that.
Still concerned with the notion that he must be involved
I'm just letting you know.
necessarily in the show, since he typically just
dog.
lays there, and he's not only typically
The
a dog,
big
he
thing
is
I
in
wanted
fact a
to
dog.
present to you guys
a
on this
dog.
is if you watch this on YouTube, of course.
Yeah.
There's the intro. I do think we need to put a Portillo's face in there at
You're
some
right.
point because it
You're
goes
right.
dun dun and it's us. But where's Portillo?
He should have a little flash frame.
He has a lot of insight and interesting analyses and anecdotes about the industry, through his long-standing exposure to the industry.
Sure. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna say. You ask any motherfucker who's your favorite peanut from Peanuts, they're gonna say Snoopy. Snoopy had a longer career than any of these idiots. Charlie Drown, Peppermint Batty. Nobody cared about these guys. It was all about
Wow.
the Snoop.
Yeah, the Snoop.
Why are you saying their names like that? Are you afraid of getting sued? Are these like the fucking off-brand toys you find in Walgreens?
But yeah, exactly. No.
What do you think Portillo's favorite games would be if Portillo was not a dog?
Civilization 5.
He would be into that.
He has a deep
would be into
mind.
that.
So
Oh, yeah.
I think he'd like Kinect games. He likes to play. I just don't let him do it. I forced him into this
So
soft like
Dance
life.
Central, he's all about that.
Yeah, he could get into that. Connectimals. He can see cats for a
Connectimals.
change. Skittles.
I liked Skittles. Jesus, reminds me of David Clayman. I like that you brought up the point that when you're not around, that Portillo gets depressed.
Yeah.
Now, what is the nature of his depression when he?
I can show you images. Christine will tell you about it. We got to get
Well,
Christine
he-
on the show to describe.
He looks a little depressed all the time. He looks a little something, actually.
I don't know if depressed is the right word. He's something, though.
He's definitely something.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
I mean,
about
y'all. Wait, hold on. This week, I'm leaving this week, and you're staying.
Mhm.
You can observe him for yourself.
it. Do I have to?
I mean, look at how sad that dog is. Look at his head down, just not happy.
That's kind of his natural condition. I just don't believe that he's. This is what I was saying about Portillo's. I'm not sure that he's self-aware enough to know that you're not here.
I assure you, he is.
I think it's not as deep as you think. I think he knows he loves you more than anything, right?
Yeah.
But I think once you're gone, it's like when he goes to pet camp, I think he just goes about his business, and then he smells you again or has this identity with you again where he remembers that he loves you
Oh,
more than
yeah.
anything. Like in other words, I don't think there's a pining or a longing.
You want me to call Christine?
You don't have to call Christine because there's no way she could possibly know the answer to this. Since
She'll tell you how he acts differently.
it's not that important. We could talk about this another time. I just wanted to say that I don't think Portillo's a deep enough thinker. He's not exactly an existentialist. He's not out there in the woods with Thoreau and Emerson thinking about,
No one is.
questions
They're dead.
They are dead.
But no one's out in the woods talking to them.
At some point,
Don't put
someone
down
was in the
Portillo,
woods talking to
Colin.
them.
He's doing okay. He's doing them.
I mean, he's doing something.
Yeah.
I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying, I don't think that, like, when Greg leaves, he's probably sad for a minute, then he forgets what sadness
No,
is.
he's sad the whole time.
And then he just
Forgets what's sad.
he sleeps for 18 to 20 hours a day, and he eats and he runs around and does things, and then he doesn't. And over time, I think, if not exposed to Greg, he would forget Greg existed, and then he would remember, because scent being the closest sense tied to memory, remembers that he indeed loved Greg more than anything else, which is why he gets excited when Greg gets home.
I don't think it's getting close enough to him being gone, me being gone long enough that he's getting to forget me forever territory. I maybe after a few days it starts to wane. Sure,
But don't they say about dogs that, like, when you leave the house, the dog thinks every time that you're not going to come back?
Yeah, they have no idea how much time passes. Is what's said. Yeah.
This is the Kind of Funny Gamescast, the show where we talk to you about video games and all the cool stuff going
Sometimes.
on in video games. Only sometimes. Most of the time, we're not going to do that. But see, how could we when we have this? Every week over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, we break this show up topic by topic, Monday through Thursday. Full episode on Friday. But if you want that episode early, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, and you can get it early. Is this one worth $1? I can tell you it will be.
Totally
You
worth
know
$1.
why? Because this is the special Patreon episode. I just decided that. So here's the deal. Over on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, there's a bunch of different tiers.
Right.
Some of the
Tobacco.
tiers get you different stuff. For $1, you get the exclusive episode that we do monthly. You have access to that. For $5, you get this show early. $10, you get this video early. And some other number that I don't remember, but I think it's 15 or 20. You get thanked visually.
Oh!
So Kevin, can you please put it here? Thank all the good people for all their good work. Huh?
20 says Kevin.
Yeah, this one's worth the 20. I'll tell you that much.
15, yeah, that's right.
15's the
You get at 15. You get
the monthly chat,
and you get Colin or Greg Live.
Yes,
as a
you're
YouTube
right.
video. Hate Twitch? Want to watch it on the go wherever you are? Get it on YouTube. Archive.
Now, there's an important thing. One of these tiers that are up there,
Yeah.
50 perhaps? I don't know. But if you go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames,
Man, you did a lot of
you'll
research
see-
on this one.
Whatever. It's not about the money. It's about the what the tier is. I know the tier. The tier is you get your topic on the show.
Right.
Now, every once in a while, we sprinkle them in. But I decided today, because we had to do the thank yous and stuff, I want to sprinkle all over the place. And I want this to be the Patreon extravaganza. So it's going to
Why'd you
every
go down on
question.
that one?
I don't know.
You were excited the
I didn't
first time.
want to get too.
We
too
did the
excited.
siren?
Yeah, it was a little much. I don't know who's in this house right now. I don't know if Christine's here or not. I want to respect her space. I want to respect her audio levels, and I don't want to scare Portillo.
That's true. He
We
was
need to
trying to lick
keep
my
him-
mouth.
Need
while
to
I
keep
did
him around. So every topic in this is going to be brought to you by someone from Patreon.
it. Okay.
And I think it's going to
like
be,
that.
it's
That's
gonna be
good.
kinda cool.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Before we get into any of these topics, now look at Portillo's face right now.
Mm-hmm.
He looks depressed. Right now, he looks depressed. He looks like
He doesn't look depressed. He looks tired. He looks like he's had a long day. Look at that. Like he's very tired. He's so sleepy.
The world's got you down, Portillo.
Things are
Watch this,
hard.
watch this. He loves this. He loves that. It's like the crack of your butt, but it's the crack of his face. He loves this.
You like that when someone does that to the crack of your
Who
butt?
doesn't? You bend over right now, dude. Too. You'll see.
It's like swipe. Yeah, you're gonna just swipe your finger right down there.
Why? Remember when you did that to your friends' credit card stuff? What a bunch of weird perverts we were.
I don't know that I ever did that. Actually, to my friends.
Like a piece of cardboard.
Put through the butt crack.
Well, like not like when they're naked butt, but like just I'm sure it'll all be in my documentary.
All right. Okay. So before we get into all of that, Leaping Tiger, we want to give a nice little shout out to them. The last couple of weeks, we've been doing this thing called game nights.
Yep.
And
Kinda Funny game nights.
on Wednesdays.
Yep.
We at what time was it?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. See, Greg's
Pacific
so good.
time.
He's so good. At
I
this
think it's
stuff.
a really cool thing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we always talk about this, right? And this being the Patreon episode, they went up and they were the first people to come to Kind of Funny Games and take the sponsorship tier, right? And that they did that because they're fans of what we do, and so they want to integrate with us and the fellow best friends the best way they can, and they do that by planning game nights where they give away a Vita to somebody. And since the app's brand new, you're only playing with the Kind of Funny people, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So right now everyone's playing Rocket League, which
Right.
you're playing that anyways. So
Yeah.
might as well play with Kind of Funny people and win a Vita.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool. So the leaping-tiger.com is where we can go to get it,
Right.
or you can get it. There's an iOS app and
Right.
all that stuff.
Android's coming.
Pretty much, it's just a way to. It's a friend finding app to be able to play games together, see who's playing what, go on quests, and do all that stuff.
It's like a mixture of Foursquare and some kind of friend finder, yeah. Because you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm checking into Rocket League, and then it shows you who's playing Rocket League around you, and then you can message them like, hey, do you want to play together? You're like, yeah, sure. Are you Kind of Funny people? Yeah, I hate Colin. No, I love Colin. I'm gonna drive to your house and kill you. Don't do that. That's all bad. Don't do that.
So yeah, some of those things happen, some of those things don't. But definitely check out the Rocket League game nights for us and leaping-tiger.com.
Yeah. So Wednesday, go play it. 7 to 9. Use Leaping Tiger. You have a chance to win a Vita.
Yay.
Yeah, we need more Vitas in the wild, Colin.
Sure do, Greg.
And I'm glad to get a Vita out there because you know that Persona 4 dancing all night is so goddamn close.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that over this trip when we were going to SGC playing the Vita, and I'm like, this is fun. I need a game, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh wait, it's coming.
It's coming.
Persona dancing all night.
Yeah, so I was I tweeted about this, but after all so as you guys might know, Greg Miller has a new nickname, and it's Greg Meet and Greet Miller.
Sure.
Because
I'll
Greg
take that.
Miller loves his meet and greets.
Yeah.
We all do. But Greg really loves
Did you
his
see
meet
that
and
when we got back out of the meet and greet in Frisco, Texas?
I
It
was
took
with
him
him.
less than an hour to tweet out about the next meet and greet.
He's
I like to
so
give
funny.
you guys
we were
notice.
literally just
Saturday, Buena Park Portillo's. Come eat at the restaurant with Greg, Tim, Nick, Kevin. That was so good I named my dog after him.
It was
You
so
named your
good.
dog after Kevin?
Portillo's restaurant.
Oh my god. Anyways, the point is, over the last couple of months, we've been doing a lot of meet and greets, and you guys have been doing them for a long time via IGN and all this stuff. But I swear to God that we must have autographed over half of the Vitas in existence
Yeah.
by this point.
I like the best one at the SGC meet and greet at Wild Wings was the guy who bought it right before he came to us. He had it, he unwrapped it, and like he was like, I just bought this
That's
like 15
awesome.
minutes ago, so you guys could sign it. I was like, yeah.
Cool. Good purchase.
All right.
You're
Good choice.
welcome.
So
You are welcome.
back to the topic at hand. Topic number 1 is from our boy Kenny Char.
What up, Kenny Char?
He's a good
Long
dude,
time
man.
supporter.
He's been
Kenny
in there
Char's
from the long run.
a down ass.
He's a down
motherfucker.
ass motherfucker. In light of the recent Kojima/Konami debacle, as well as Nolan North's recent comments regarding Amy Hennig's departure, I was wondering which individuals in the gaming industry would be able to go to a new studio and be granted the resources to create a new game. I originally came up with a long list of candidates, but Igarashi and Inafune's inability to fully fund Bloodstained and Mighty Number 9 through traditional routes has me rethinking things. At this point, would it just be Kojima and, not that he would ever leave, Miyamoto? Thanks. And kinda.
Funny. That's a good question. And that's a good point. He raises a very, very interesting point with Inafune and Igarashi in the fact of what games our publisher is currently funding, right? And I think that Kojima, is in a different boat, right? And the fact that his game is, Metal Gear has been going on forever, evolving. It is third-person adventure. You know what I mean? It's not stuck in a bad way, quotes like Mega Man or traditional Castlevania Symphony of the Night, right? 2D side-scroller. So with that in mind, you'd think, what? Neil Druckmann or Bruce Straley, right? If they left Naughty Dog, they could go anywhere. They could go, and they made Last of Us, Uncharted 2, now Uncharted 4. Like, they'd be able to just write their own ticket and do whatever the hell they wanted to. And that's again, because they're making games that are in the zeitgeist right now that are super popular. Right, Colin?
Yeah, those are the names that came to mind for me too. I think there's two things. One is that there are more obscure names in the industry, or for instance, not even obscure, but someone like Carmack, for instance, at id, like he could have gone and done whatever he wanted, and he did. He left id, and he's doing Oculus stuff now. But I think that we look almost at the visionaries in terms of the artistic merit or the creativity, and that's how you get guys like Neil and Bruce or Amy, all from Naughty Dog. But I think that there's probably names that we don't even know, or names certainly our audience wouldn't know, and we're not going to get too into the weeds, that would easily be able to do other things based on their prowess to make engines, their prowess to code, or their prowess for multiplayer design and all these kinds of things. So I think that we look at it just based on the names that we know, but I think there are a lot of names that we don't know that can probably do some pretty big things at pretty big studios too. But I think Kojima is the one great example, and maybe Druckmann and Straley and a few others, that, if given the chance, not only could do whatever they want, but will probably have a significant bidding war between multiple big publishers. Because I don't think you can compare Inafune and Igarashi unfortunately, to someone like Kojima or Miyamoto or Hennig or Bruce Straley, just because they've not had the critical success. I'm sorry, they have had the critical success. They have not had the commercial success that is necessary for these big publishers to pay attention to them. So it makes somewhat some sense that big publishers wouldn't be interested in Bloodstained, not because they can't make money on it, but because they can't make a lot of money on it. So it's not, if Activision is going to get involved with Igarashi and they can make $5 million in profit, it's probably not even worth it for them to do it. You know what I mean? So I think that we have to keep those kinds of things in mind. So I am most excited for Metal Gear to come out because I want to see what Kojima does, because I think that Kojima will reemerge probably at a Western studio or a Western it's more accurate to say he'll reemerge, I think, at a Western publisher with his own studio.
You think that's more like, that's the most likely situation?
Yes.
Don't you think he's looking at Igarashi, and he's looking at Inafune, and he's thinking, like, I gotta get on this Kickstarter thing. I think that all this goodwill, like I was saying last week, right? Like, he's going to come out of this a fucking folk hero. You know what I mean? People would throw money at him.
Sure, but I think that I don't think we all overestimate how big Kickstarter is for cachet and for getting money through that. But Yu Suzuki got only $6.5 million, which is still the most funded game, I think, of all time on Kickstarter for Shenmue 3. I think that if Kojima went to Kickstarter, he'd be able to do more than that, but he's still not going to get the money he needs to make the game he wants to make. So,
there's something on Metal Gear's,
I think money
scale.
on Kickstarter is just part of it. Of course, that helps, and that's a nice little kickstart to the whole thing. But it's also the stories, the articles, the controversy of, should he be doing this or should he not? He can make money this way. Like, all of that kind of feeds into it, and then it's just going to retell the story of Kojima being this like folk hero and all that stuff. And it's like that. It kind of creates the underdog thing where the end goal of the money isn't really the story. All it needs is $7 million to become the most funded game. All of a sudden, that's a headline.
But he can't. But the point, that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is that he can't make the games that he makes for $7 million. So It's more, and I do think that it would be, I personally believe that it would be a little weird for Kojima can absolutely make a studio for an exclusive studio for a AAA publisher. I have no doubt about that, and he would need way more than what he's going to get on Kickstarter to to make the games that he makes. I don't want him to go to Kickstarter because he doesn't. That's not going to be good enough for him, and I don't mean that he's the greatest developer of all time because I don't think he is. I in many ways I think he's somewhat overrated because I'm curious what the people behind the scenes are really doing to make these games great. He's worked with the same core group of guys for a long time.
He's got a great team.
But it's more that he is one of the few names that I think, because of the zeitgeist right now with his particular situation with Konami, that there are publishers that would die to get him on board. And so I don't, he's not making something obscure. Mighty Number 9 is still a pretty obscure game, and Bloodstained is a 2.5D Metroidvania game. It's not big bucks games. Like, he makes big cinematic games that you cannot make for $7 or $10 million, and so I'd be curious to see. I think going to Kickstarter is a silly route for him to.
My side thing to that is I'm interested to see if he wants this next game to be a big crazy ass budget game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where. I'm not saying that like Metal Gear got out of control on him or something, right? But I think that he might just be ready to go and exhale and make something like that Sun game. I remember that thing on the DS, Boktai, right? And like do something different and just feel it out.
Yep.
What could I do? What does the audience expect of me? Where do we go from here? And be an artist again, in quotes, since there are no more. Make another Metal Gear. You know what I mean?
Sure. Time is of the essence for him, though. I think he's got. I think that if he wants to keep. Everyone's always going to respect Kojima, and I think, and rightfully so. But I think if he wants to keep his cachet, he needs to immediately go make another AAA game. Because he doesn't have roots in the more modest. Unless you go back to really his
MSX.
Days in the '80s and in the early '90s, he really doesn't have roots in more modest games. Unless he was executively producing something. Even Zone of the Enders was still a pretty substantial game compared to a lot of games around it.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of its engine and graphically and stuff. So I think that unlike Igarashi, who's known for making really handheld games, and Inafune, who's known for making, he was the producer and creator of some big franchises, but he's really known for a very simple style of game. They can get away with something that is more that is looser. And of course, remember that even with Bloodstained, and they raised $5 million around that they still had other investment. That game's gonna be a lot bigger than a $5 million game. So there's a lot of different ways in there. I'm just interested because I really do believe that Kojima can get a 100+ person studio from a big publisher for his own to make a AAA game
and go do what he wants
and do whatever he wants. And I think that he comes off as a guy that desires to make big he wants to do stuff like that. That's what he does. He's all about. I don't want to say he's all about himself because that is not true, but he's all about his vision, and he's the marquee guy, and he's the guy on the box and stuff. So. He's certainly the example. Others, but we shouldn't discount that there are a lot of other people that can do that too, and we might just not be able to know their names, or they might not be household names, but they're certainly names in the industry.
What's interesting to me about the question is, I think what's a more fascinating question is, who do we think couldn't do this? I think the fact that we know someone's name is already establishing that they are the face of this brand, company, whatever, which already gives them so much.
And I think that's the thing is with this question specifically, it's like you're talking about all the people that we don't know about and stuff. It's like they're almost not the answer to the question because they're not going to be given those things, even regardless of them having the talent. It's like kind of like Kim Kardashian. Everyone knows who she is, and she gets all this stuff. Regardless of talent, it doesn't matter if she's known, right? So it's like really kind of thinking about there's only a handful of people that you could even. I think it falls into two camps. There's the people that you know their names. There's the Miyamotos, the Kojimas, the Cliff Blazinskis, those people that are characters themselves. And then there's the people like Inafune that people don't know his name. I think, on a general level. But if you're like, oh, it's the creator of Mega Man, that means something. The creator of Castlevania, that means something. You need to be in a position where you're tied to a thing. So it's like, I think Bruce and them, it's like the creators of Uncharted. All of a sudden that makes sense. But then once you start going down the tree a little bit, it's like, I don't know, you can't really just give everyone credit for Uncharted, even though they all made Uncharted.
Well, David Ballard did most of the heavy lifting.
Exactly. So he'd be one of those people.
Exactly.
Right, but my only point is that there's a level of Carmack was the example I used of a guy who has. I mean, back in the day, he was very creatively driven in terms of the content, but he's known for engines. He's known for the fidelity of the game's graphics and how it runs, and those things were really, really important to id. So, and they still are really important to id. I mean, he would obsess over frame rates and stuff like that, and he doesn't necessarily have the chops as we saw. I don't know his level of engagement with games like Rage that I don't think were super well received, but no one could question that the game didn't run perfectly, and that was a product of his obsession over the tech. And we don't hear a lot about those kinds of guys. And in a way, the guys that make your engines are even more valuable than the creators because you can get 5 games out of that engine, you know? And so that's the point I'm trying to make, is that I'm sure that there are names, well-known names within the trenches of the industry that people would fawn over and probably make shit tons of money to not leave, that really are the refiners of these various engines and the technical fidelity, the multiplayer coding and all these kinds of things. I think, you know, that's relevant. I mean, so not for every Ken Levine, you have to have a guy that, you know, Ken Levine's not the programmer. Ken Levine's not the you know, he's the creator, he's the writer, he's the visionary. And those are important at a base level, but of course, but we shouldn't undercut the fact that we're still playing a game. You know what I mean? Portillo, stop.
Kevin will be back. It'll be okay. Don't worry.
So that's basically where I stand on that. But I think it's an interesting question. It's more about if teams were mobile in my mind, like who, you know, like for instance, like how much would Microsoft kill to get Naughty Dog, you know, or how much would you know, Sony want to get, you know, one of the, you know, like one of Nintendo's internal studios or something like that. Like it's, I look at it as more as it's like a team, you know, a team effort. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that do a lot of really important work too. And if you just took the visionary, they might not necessarily all go along with that person, which is why I'm interested to see what Kojima does in terms of like how many people he's going to poach inevitably.
He's going to take everybody
from those studios, and how much value that's going to be when he's certainly on the market soon. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm so much more excited about that than the actual game. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 is fine. I'm not really excited about it at all, but I'm that's just me personally, but I am excited to see what happens to this particular person.
I'm excited for both. I really want to play that game.
Can't wait for that game.
It looks great. It's just not a game. I'm going to play Mad Max before I play Metal Gear. I know that's crazy. But.
Oh my God.
You're a silly man, Colin.